got into mountain biking like 15 years ago,
All
and
right.
like never stopped. And I used to like creep down the mountain, but now I'm like, find me the biggest, gnarliest hill you can give me, you know?
Really? You're
You
like,
just-
did you know Mike Holt is doing that at like 70 years old?
yeah. Yeah. Dude, they make the bike so good,
Wow.
they can handle anything.
It's crazy, man. Did you know that about him? He was doing barefoot water skiing into his 60s, and then he said he got too old for that and he started doing downhill mountain biking into
If
his
you don't fall off the bike, you should be good.
That's right, man. Words to live by. I think just about every sport should have that disclaimer. Like, yeah, if you don't get crushed by a defensive end, you should be all right.
So, like, these forks right here,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a $2,000 fork. You know, like, they
Really?
can handle anything. Yeah.
All right. All right. And it's electric, meaning it's fully electric, or it has like the element that kind of aids your speed.
Yeah, pedal assist.
Pedal assist. That's rad.
Pedal assist. Yeah.
That thing is super cool, man.
Hell yeah. Well, and trust me, I worked my way up to that. And I saved for a couple of years to buy that because I just wanted to buy it, not finance it.
Yeah.
And it was like, tomorrow I'm not gonna have $5,000 anymore. I was like, I bought it, babe.
It's good economics though, I think, man. I've always, like, when I was a younger man, I always like, you that cup is incredible. Do you sell those?
No, my wife
No.
bought me that. It's from like
right.
what is it? Lumberjack Trading Company.
All right.
Pretty cool little company.
That sounds
But
like a cool company.
I was like, you know me, babe. You know me.
It almost looks exactly like your beard.
Dude, my wife likes to you know how we all get sold on certain things on the internet. The
Sure.
coffee cups, the customized coffee cups, she loves. There's a few of these things rolling around my house.
All right, that's cool. So as far as mountain biking, then you're also a musician.
Yeah.
Are there and we'll really get into that. Are there things outside of mountain biking, being a musician and family and work, that spark your interest? Or are those your main avenues of like creative outlet?
Yeah, no.
Those four things.
I'm one of those people that's just like, man, focus on what you're good at and the hell with the rest.
That's good. There's my business partner Josh and I talk a lot about I'm gonna mess up who came up with this. It's a some famous rich person has this 5-25 plan where it's like you write down your top list of 25 interests in your life, and then you organize them in the order of most important to you in your life, and then you take the top 5 and put them in one category, and then you take the other 20 and you throw them away. And those 5 things are all that you should be focusing on, because if you let those other things leak in, you're not going to be mediocre at 25 things, as opposed to being pretty good at 5.
And and that could be great for somebody. But if you're somebody like maybe you or me, like, no, I want to be badass at guitar. I don't want to be pretty good. I want to be badass. So I need to play for like 2 or 3 hours every day.
Right. It was Warren Buffett. I think it was Warren Buffett. I think I might be wrong, but I think it was him. Anyway, I believe in that. I think that's true. It's like I get really enamored by things too, and I'm like, man, I would love, because just like with the trades, I love just anything that I can sink my teeth into, that you can see that there's passion in it, and then you can work toward you can see progress. There's something that just really tickles me about that. And there's so many things in the world that it's so easy to get super fascinated with everything. It's like there's so much cool stuff out there. Like, you see a cool bike like that. I want to do that. I want to get on a mountain bike. But it doesn't fit in my top 5.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm with that too. And the thing, like mountain biking or playing guitar or being a trade dude,
yeah,
like you're never gonna top out on how good you can get. Like if you keep practicing, you're gonna get better.
Right.
You're gonna get better. Like, well, you think, oh, you're getting old. You're getting old. These guys are gonna run circles around you. Like, nah, I don't think so.
I'll tell you what, man, I run circles around young guys for sure.
Yeah, dude. showing him out. I remember just like a year or two ago, we had a helper, and I wanted to pickaxe a trench out for like electrical line, and I'm seeing how he's doing it, and I'm like, no, let me show you. And I did I'll do like 6 feet in front of him. I'll make him watch me do like 6 feet of this trench, which is not going to take me long. Like, I'm going to be like,
that's right.
Like, this is how you do it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Get in there. Sometimes, and sometimes you got to show them for sure. You
gotta do it. You gotta show them. Like, you pretty much, if you want them to do it how you do it, you got
to show them. Yeah.
Like,
and then you can critique them, because if you don't show them first, then critiquing them is out of left field, because they're like, well, I didn't know that you wanted me to do it that way.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, like for me, because I've trained so many guys, I always just make it a game. Like, a lot of times I'll see if there's a moment, like maybe we kicked ass today and we're standing by the sawhorses. I told like another helper, I was like, all right, let me see everyone, we're gonna have a little competition. Let me see who can rip down an 1.5 inch strip the fastest off this piece of plywood right here, right?
All right.
I tell my helper, obviously the least knowledgeable one, you go first, right?
Right.
And so he gets his chalk box and he snaps the line and he cuts a perfect fucking 1.5 inch strip, which I didn't say that, for example. I just said an 1.5 inch strip. Yeah. And then Zach comes up, who's already trained. He knows that the skill saw has a little mark on it. And he knows that we use strips for bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took him like 3 seconds. And Jesse's like, I was like, so that just have a fun moment. And now I'm like, try it again, Jesse. And he's, it's the way to do it.
That's right. It's that experience that you take with you that like makes you faster. That's why you can run circles around the younger guys, because it's not, when I was a few years ago, I met this party, kind of a friend's party on this lake, and everybody's kind of hanging out. There's a bunch of kids there. And I watched this one kid get up on the dock, run as fast as he can, and do front flips over and over and over. And I'm just sitting there drinking beer, enjoying the sun. And it dawned on me, it's like, man, there's this like balance where when you're young, you got all this energy. Your energy's up here.
Yeah.
But your knowledge and experience is way down here. And it's important because your knowledge and experience is down here, you're going to fuck up a lot. And so you got all this energy to make up for those mistakes. But as you get older, that energy drops. So that wisdom has to increase, because you can't make up for your screw ups like you used to. You don't have the energy.
Very little energy for mistakes.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, when you make a mistake and you're older, it really is a bummer. Because you're like, I knew better.
And I guess the trick is just like, laughing it off and just hurrying up and fixing it. Let's not talk about this too long. Let's get in here. So we're doing this bathroom. You might have seen what's going on this week on my page, but and I had no idea what vanity she was getting or whatever, and I misplaced where the outlet should be in the backsplash. After we got all set up, it's like literally right behind the faucet. Right. And so of course she comes in, she's like, dude, and I was like, okay, yes, okay, give me. Yeah, I see. Please let me work now. But it only took me like half hour to fix it, literally to cut out the tile, move the outlet, patch it up, and retile it. It didn't take that long. Yeah. I've dwelled on things for days before fixing them in the bath,
Well, the worst, I think it's better when you make a mistake and you're at the site and you recognize the mistake while you're there. I think that's much better than finishing a job and then getting a call. Because then you're like, especially if it's on a Friday or something, and you're like, I gotta think about this mistake all weekend long. I gotta sit and dwell in how terrible I was at that all weekend long.
And more importantly, whoever hired you is gonna be thinking about it.
That's a fact. Yep. all weekend, they're gonna be like, see, look at that right there.
I told Zach, I was like, dude, we're all set up. Let's just do it right now. Yeah. Let's just get it done. And then 45 minutes later, we're done. And I'm like, that wasn't that bad.
Not too bad. Yeah, I got a call. A few weeks back. We did a client just moved into a house, 1950s era house, and they wanted to. There was a room upstairs that had no outlets in it, none. And you could tell it was drywall, not plaster. So somebody had come back through and done some stuff. And there was one light fixture in the middle of the room and a light switch to it. And they wanted to put outlets in the room. So I get in there, open up the switch box, recognize power coming in.
Yeah.
check out the switch leg. They didn't put a box in the ceiling, so I had to put a box in the ceiling for the light. Drop all my outlets in, got attic access. So it's a pretty easy job. Takes about 5 hours or so. And finish up, looks great. Everything's working great. Get home and I get an email. It's like a Friday. And he's like, hey, these outlets only work when the switch is on. And I'm like, I'm reading it like, no, they don't. That's not accurate. I tested everything. It's not true. And but I think to myself, I'm like, okay. I go, okay, well, let me swing by there tomorrow. I'll get up early. I'll come over and check it out. So I get there and I go, first thing I do is I go up in the room that I just worked in. I put my plug tester in right away, right? Because I want to be like, light switch is off. Let's put that plug tester in. And sure as shit, no power on the outlets.
Damn it.
And I'm like, well, what the hell? So I go over to the switch and I turn it on. Still no power on the outlets. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And the guy peeks his head around the corner and he goes,
actually been better for you.
It was. He peeks his head around the corner and he goes, no, not that switch. This switch. Somebody before me powered the switch to that room off of the light in the three-way light for the stairs.
They tapped in the attic. They're like,
they tapped into the switch leg. So that room was only hot. That switch was only hot when that three-way was on. And that three-way was on the whole time I was there because I was upstairs and I needed the lights on. So it was a great lesson for me in like, even if it looks like it's all perfect.
Yeah.
Still check more.
That's
yeah, so for sure. I mean, there's always, no matter how good you get, no matter how long you do it.
Then you have to decide for yourself if you're gonna talk to him about charging him to run that new hot leg or just swallow it, which is probably what you did. That's what I should do.
Yep. Yeah, no biggie.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna pull a hot leg from over here now.
That's right. It was a piece of cake fix. There was actually there happened to be a junction box in the attic, right where you kind of came up. I had to upsize it to an 11B because they had it in like a 1900 and they had a lot of wires in it. So for box fill, I had to kind of upsize it, but it was a piece of cake. Anyway, it was just a good lesson in like, just be more thorough.
Well, and you can always give them the option for the better job. Like, had we maybe talked a little more about this job, we'd have tried to sell him on a dedicated circuit for this room.
Right.
And let him know that if we don't do the dedicated circuit and we tap off this box and then you're running whatever,
That's right. That's right, man. So it's always a learning process. And I love that. Yeah.
Oh man.
But think of
you can think of on the job.
For sure. And think of how it would be if you didn't. I mean, think of our egos and how insane they would be if we never made those mistakes. Because there's nothing more humbling than the trades. It's an incredibly humbling career, you know?
Oh, that's why the OGs, you never hear them talking.
Yeah.
They're always just like, you'll ask them, you'll never be like, yeah, I'm gonna bang that out. They'll be like, all right, let's go give it a shot. Let's go get it.
That's right. Let's see how it goes.
As soon as you start talking, it's just like on the ball field. Yeah, get cocky, see what happens.
That's right, man. Yeah, it's true. So how long have you been in the trades? How long has your process been?
It's kind of weird to think about. Like, I would take it all the way back to being 5 years old, probably. Like, I was always the kid. Like, there's a picture of me at 5 years old. I literally found wood and bricks and built a skateboard ramp. And there's a picture of me in midair with a karate belt tied.
Yes.
Like, on a crappy skateboard, that my mom took. And so like it started there. And then I always built clubhouses when I was a kid.
Same, dude. 100%.
I have my dad and I have my stepdad. And my dad loved working with wood. My stepdad was a mechanic.
All right.
So I have both these guys always saying like, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. And back in my day, they still had a lot of shop classes. So I took shop every year, like every year. I was one of the most gangster kids in shop class. I even made I casted skateboard trucks.
Whoa.
All that shit. I completed everything you could complete in junior high shop.
That's awesome.
And,
That's great.
But I never wanted to be a tradesman.
Okay.
Like, you know how the generation was. Everyone told me I had to go to college and all this kind of stuff. And I honestly, as bad as it sounds, I kind of thought like trade dudes were losers.
Yeah.
Like I probably honestly thought that. I remember my stepdad, when I was like 18, I hadn't got into construction yet, but he was like, hey, I can get you in this summer class. They're going to teach you how to drive tractors and shit. And you're going to be making $50 an hour. And I was like, he's like, you just got to stay there for the summer. I was like, I'm not fucking going there for the summer. You're crazy, you know? But that was like, now I'm like, damn, that was a good opportunity. Not everyone can get in that class. I can only get in it because he's connected to the huge company in this town. And I would have been, you know, operating engineers, union, badass job. And he's like, we'll go skiing every winter. You'll be on unemployment, you know, like all this shit. It's gonna be awesome. I'm like, fuck you, Dad. Hell no. I'll never do that. But then I don't know, then I worked like a year or two just like Joe Jobs.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine I was living with was like, you want to help me tear down this house for this guy? He'll pay us $80 cash every day. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And I went out there, and after day one, I was like, that's our boss. I was like, he owns this company or whatever. I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
If he can do it, I can do it, is what I thought. Because he was just not even a regular guy. He was kind of like a crusty guy. Like, you know, he's hiring guys like us for cash, and like afterwards, everyone got a shot of Crown, you know, like.
That's brilliant.
So that I didn't even know what a contractor was before that.
Yeah.
Even though I worked with stuff, I had no idea that like a contractor was a job, and that you didn't have to go to college to do it.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, as soon as I heard of it, I got it.
Yeah, right. It's funny. I had like that same scenario where I was raised by tradespeople too. Like everybody in my family, we've got a mason, we've got a mechanic, we got a painter. My dad's an auto body guy. Everybody's in the trades. And growing up, I think that there've been all these.
No, just kidding.
What's that?
Bunch of know-it-alls.
Bunch of know-it-alls. That's right, man. It was funny. There's a big full circle, I think, in life. When you're young, you just think that adults are dumb. And I don't know why, but we do, right? Like I can remember being like, man, you're an adult. Why don't you know how to do this yet? Like I remember being so hard on my dad. And it wasn't until I had kids that it really, really hit me. Like he's just a guy. Just doing his best. And he didn't go to school to be a dad. He didn't know what he's doing. He's doing his best. And
he did it on purpose.
That's right. He accidentally made a human. And not only that, but I was a pain in the ass kid.
You know?
And so all of those things. So even growing up, looking at him and my uncles and my cousins and people in the trades, I felt the same way that you did, where I was just like, I don't think so, man. I don't think that's for me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, long story short, all through life, trying all these other things, going to college and being a comedian and trying my hand in all these things. And then it's like, at the end of the day, who do I think are the coolest people in the world? Tradespeople. You know, it's all this full circle thing. When I look at my dad and I'm like, okay, I was the dumb one. This guy knew what he was talking about. Like he's a skilled
right. You thought your dad was dumb.
Yeah.
And he was, because we're all dumb.
Yeah,
like
right.
we're all just trying to figure this crap out.
That's a fact.
It's like you guys are both, and he thought you were a dumb teenager, and he was also right.
He was correct.
Way. Like yes, we're dumb. Embrace it. That way we'll learn from this experience.
That's a fact. And that's a big lesson, man. That's like a big one, especially with trade work. Like we said earlier, man, it's just like embracing the mistakes and turning them into lessons. Like, okay, I screwed that up. When you bring on, we just brought on our first apprentice, and it's like, you know, I've got a daughter who's 21, and I went through that whole process when she was a teenager, and of her, once they hit a certain age, the eyes start rolling real hard, and they're just like, this guy's just so dumb. And she's like you said, she's right. So when we bring this apprentice on, there's a part of me that's like, man, you know, he's gonna see us make mistakes, and it's good for him because it'll help him feel normal because he's making mistakes. And to see the guy who's been doing it for a while also make mistakes, it's like, it's just part of it, you know?
It's all how you come off them.
It's right. It's not about what happens. It's about how you respond to what happens, right?
There you go. I remember I didn't even really make that big of a mistake, but a customer wasn't happy with something I did. And he was grilling me hard. Like, I'm an engineer. I have books, blah, blah, you know? And I'm like,
engineers love that.
Shit-eating grin, but I'm smiling. Why are you smiling? And I wanted to say, Because if I stop smiling, I'm gonna sock you in the face, bro.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah, right.
you know, I'm just trying to get through this moment we're having right now, so I can go fix this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
You
sir.
know, I'm like, I got you. No, okay. You know, let me go fix it.
Yeah, mistakes happen. I feel like what I've experienced, and I don't mean to call engineers out necessarily, but we work for quite a few, and they're real smart people, but they have this, and I'm generalizing, they're not all like it, but it's in my experience with a few engineers,
Couple dudes, yeah.
couple dudes, they tend to have the highest expectations as far as like perfection's concerned.
Yeah.
Where it's like we worked for one guy, and he would continuously come into the scenario midstream, and he would critique and be like, well, you guys realize that's this, and you guys realize that's that. It's like, well, hold on, we're not done, sir. Like it's a messy process, number one, and you don't walk up to you don't walk up to a painter when they're in the middle of a painting and go, that doesn't look like me. It's like, well, it's not done when it, so
it's a process.
It's a process for sure. Yeah. Yeah, some clients can be tricky just because they're human beings, and we all it's a hard process for clients too, because you're in their home, and that's uncomfortable,
Yeah. Some crusty dude with a beard and tattoos just rolling through here telling you how he's gonna fix everything.
That's right, taking a dump in your toilet, What are you gonna do? It's part, so it's that part for us is like part of navigating that is like one of the biggest parts of the work that we do is like managing expectations of the client. Like,
Well, a contractor, and more so a contractor than a tradesperson. A contractor you have to be like a sociological expert. You have to know about personality types and try to cater to that while you're kicking butt on a job all at the same time.
That's right.
And no helper wants to do that. Right?
No, and you shouldn't let them. You shouldn't let the helper do that.
Don't talk to them. Go to work.
That's right. When you see the friendly helper start to pipe up and talk, you're like, whoa. Go on. I got it.
I know. That's what I do too. I'm like, no, dude, let me do all the time.
Yeah. So you opened a business, you started a company, but you're not specializing in any specific trade. You're doing general contracting.
Yeah, basically home remodeling.
Okay.
And I do some new builds too, but not big stuff.
Okay.
I'll build a garage. I'll definitely do additions. That's like one of my favorite things to do.
Okay.
Maybe a little guest house. I've done a couple of those.
Okay.
But also like bathroom remodel, all the siding on this wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get bored doing one thing.
I got it. I get it. I can understand that. I feel the same way about like as an electrician working for like a big company where you're doing super repetitive things. I think I would feel the same way. I like what we do at Lumen Brothers is like something different every day. I like that.
I love electrical. I love electrical because at first it was really hard for me to wrap my head around everything. Yeah. But then I guess after years of troubleshooting everything, I'm like, wait, I know the answer to this.
That's right.
Now, I'm like, I don't fix this. No, we can do it. And my brother, and I can actually still impress my brother at that.
Is he an electrician?
I can't impress him at carpentry anymore. He's like, nothing will impress him. But if he's trying to troubleshoot something electrical, and I'm like, oh no, you just got to pull the neutral. They're like, oh, little brother, like I'm still kicking ass in life.
That's great, man. That's cool. How is he? He's your older brother?
Younger brother.
Younger brother, and he's a carpenter.
He's the same as me. I trained him up. I trained him so he's been with me like 9 years now.
All right.
And I trained him from day one on his construction experience. We've never split up since.
Wow.
And a couple of years ago, he'd worked for me all above board, all this, paychecks, insurance, all the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got him a contractor license too.
Sweet.
We fired all the helpers and we're like, us now.
All right.
And that's how we do it now. 2 pros and we basically split it,
That's awesome, man. That's how our company is. It's myself and my friend Josh, who's a master electrician, and we, split up when we need to, work together when we need to.
Yeah. So, I try to kind of advertise my business as a family business, small time crew, but very capable. And like, I advertised for years on Angie's List.
Yeah.
Try to find a 2-man company that has 150 reviews on there.
Yeah, I doubt it, right?
You won't. So that's why I got a lot of work off that, because every job I'm like, can I get a review? Can I get a review?
Yeah, we do the same.
I can log you in. Let's get on there. I took it so seriously at first, because when I first got into doing ads, I wasn't getting anything. Like, what am I paying money for? And my rep's like, you need to get your reviews up.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get you reviews. God damn it. I start going through my phone,
Do you find it challenging to keep up with the workload, being a small company?
To keep up with the workload, like a lot of calls are coming in, I can't take them all.
Right.
Well, I make it, because I do have a reputation and I've been at it a long time, I kind of make it a little hard to get a hold of me. So I figure if somebody finally gets a hold of me, they really want to work with me, and I will do everything I can to accommodate.
I love that process. That's wonderful.
It's like, you're going to go through a couple filters to really get me to call you back. Like on my voicemail, if you call my phone right now, it's going to be like, what's up? It's Nick. I got a saw in my hand. And if you want to hear from me, it's going to be Friday. So leave a message. And that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
And they'll be like, I'll be waiting to hear from you on Friday. And I'm like, all right, okay. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
We do something similar where, because it was the same thing, like real quick after starting the company, it was like, okay, we got to figure something out here, because we can't just keep booking for months and months and months out. We got to have some flexibility in the schedule. So one thing that we do is I find it easier to communicate via email than I do with my phone, because man, the phone just rings all day. I'm on a ladder, phone's ringing. I'm in a crawl space, phone's ringing. It's like, I just can't answer the phone. And so my voicemail says, hey, same thing.
Yeah.
Probably working on a project right now. Shoot me an email. And the people who take the time to shoot me an email are the people that I want to work with. The people who listen to that voice message and then still leave a voice message after me saying, shoot me an email. That's sorry. You failed the first test. It's like, please, if you want to work with us, the best way for me to get in touch with is email. And the small, say we get 10 calls, if 1 or 2 people shoot the email, that's enough business for us.
Well, and here's the thing, like a client, a customer, whatever you want to call them, it's in their best interest to follow the contractor's process, because the contractor has developed this process over years. And if you make him accommodate to everything you need, he's just not going to give you his best work.
That's right.
So like the dude at our job, me and my brother, we split at 2:30 every day, unless there's a reason to stay. Okay. Right? We set a goal in the morning. Let's get all this done. After this, we're out. Right? We both got families, and he's got little ones. And so the dude was giving a shit a little bit. He's like, "So you guys taking off early again, huh?" And I just told him, I was like, "Oh, you don't want our 4 o'clock work. We make bad decisions." We make bad decisions at that hour. You want our prime work? It's the first 6 hours, and then we'll clean up and get out of your hair.
I agree with that. And also it's, like we said, it's a person's house. And so I don't ever like to be there. Josh and I don't ever really like to be there after 3 o'clock, because it's like, you're getting home, your family's getting home. You don't want your kids coming home and we're still like farting around in your house.
Oh, and here's another thing. How many 4 o'clock smashed thumbs have you seen in your life?
Yeah, that's when you smash a thumb.
You smash a thumb because you're tired.
Yeah.
You can't see the nail right because you've been doing it all day. Or like we used to have a thing before we came up with that last thing. We used to have a thing, once somebody drops the tool, we're calling it quit.
Yeah.
You're up on the thing, it's 3:30, and the dude drops a ladder from a hammer off his bags from the second story. That could have been your noggin.
Yep, like that's right.
Call it quit.
There are some situations in the electrical trade where we have to, like if we're doing a service upgrade and their power's out, we gotta finish that job. And that's always stressful. That's always stressful, because it's like, power's out till we get this done,
Yeah, well, yeah, especially in plumbing as well for me.
Yeah.
Drains down.
Yeah.
The drain is not open for business.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, nah, dude, sometimes you gotta tough it out. I tough it out a lot.
Yes, sir.
I talk a lot of shit, but there are many days where I'm like, no, we're staying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think that's something too. Like I'm coming back to the podcast here. What I'm like, I took some time off to really think about like what it is that this podcast offers. And I think that coming back to it, what I really came to understand is that like I want to celebrate the trades. Like I really am enamored by tradespeople, because not only are we smarter than people give us credit for, because we're grislier and a little rougher around the edges, people don't always attribute that to smart people. But I'll tell you what, I've had some of the best conversations in my life with tradespeople, but also tradespeople are really interesting because we're rough around the edges, because we're grisly, because we're not necessarily soft. We make crazy decisions, and we ride mountain bikes down hills, and we get up in front of people and play music, and whatever the case may be. I love those kinds of people,
Gotta be a little kooky to get into the trades, man.
I think so. I think you do. And in fact, it is humorous, but it's also very true. Like when you see, I worked for a company before we started Lumen Brothers, and they had such a high turnover rate, and you would see these young guys come through, and you could, you can tell right away. You can tell right away. I remember one day I'm walking through.
He's gonna wash out. Yeah.
That's right. I'm walking through the warehouse one day of this company, and there's this young, fresh-faced 18-year-old kid. And as I walk past him, he turns around, he puts his little hand out, and he's like, "Good morning, sir." And I shook his hand. I'm like, "Hey, man, welcome to the team." And as I'm walking out, I'm like, "He's fucking gone. That's not gonna last." And he didn't. Soft hands, And there's just something I like about, the mental toughness that's required to get the job done as a tradesperson. You just got to have a lot of mental toughness. You can't be, I don't know. There's something about tradespeople that I really admire.
Well, I kind of like, it's like one time I did many years ago, did like an open mic on guitar, and I'm like, oh man, they dug it to my friend. He's like, you don't understand. They think it's magic.
Yeah, right.
You can play guitar. And that's kind of how I feel like when I'm stumped on a plumbing job and the plumber comes and bails me out. I'm like,
how'd you do that?
That was so easy. That was magic, bro.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm like, I just learned your magic.
That's right.
Because I watch closely. I'm like, how'd you do that? And can I help? I always help when people come to. Like, sure. I know you want the customer to help, but since I'm also kind of the boss, I'm like, nah, bro, I want to do it. Let me do it with you. Like, I had the plumber come out. I was all, look, bro, I don't want you to install this tankless water heater. I was like, I want you to hang out with me for the day while I put this water heater to make sure I do it perfectly. I said, I'll give you $1,000, right? Just kick it with me for the whole day.
What a great class.
You give me $1,000 for that? I was like, yeah, because I'm charging a lot for this thing. And he's like, cool, I'll bring my helper and I'll have him run the vent for you. And I was like, even better, right?
Even better, yeah.
You out here, Bradley? My son's peeking at me through the window there.
All right.
And so he hung with me and he showed me everything because like I want to do it. It's like the plumber called it that. Oh, you want me to help you build your spaceship? We were doing like a house. He calls it building a spaceship.
All right.
Running all the pipes and the wires. And,
sure.
Dude, the trades are magic.
They are. I agree. and most folks don't know that magic, right? Most folks don't get it. How could you? I think as society changes and shifts, it's like, people get further and further away from that. And with everybody getting this like input to go to college, go get a degree. There are more clients, quote unquote, and people buying homes than there are people that know the magic of fixing them and repairing them. So I was just talking to my oldest daughter's in Canada right now. She's up in British Columbia on Victoria Island. And she was saying that the house she was going to rent, she's going to rent this room in a basement, and they're doing some renovations and they're waiting on a plumber, and they're waiting like 5 months because there's only a couple plumbers on this island, and that's it. And so I said to her, I'm like,
call them with an offer. Like, hey,
that's right.
How much you got?
That's right. That's right. But she's like, yeah, I mean, there's just such a shortage. And I was like, well, sounds like you should drop out of college and get into plumbing. And
like 60 an hour.
Yeah. She's like, no fucking way.
And when I hear stories like that, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But like as a contractor, when somebody calls me with a story like that, I'm like,
that's right. Yep.
Well, I'll be there tomorrow. How's that sound? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can come tomorrow. Yep.
Sure can.
And then charge accordingly.
That's right.
Charge accordingly.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. You said like earlier, what do you do? Well, when you get too many calls, first rule of business is you got to start charging a little more.
Yeah. I saw that post you made. You made a really great post on Instagram that really like simplified that question of like, how do you deal with too much incoming work? And you said, make your jobs closer, pick jobs closer to where you work,
Yeah.
Raise your prices. That's great information.
Well, because when it comes down to it, like I only need, let's say if everything went to my perfect plan, I only need 3 customers this year.
Okay.
Because it takes me 3 or 4 months to do a room addition, like
Right.
turnkey. I only need to sell 4 jobs this year. I don't need 400 calls.
Right.
I need 4 perfect calls.
Got it.
How do we find them?
Yeah.
How do we find those 4 people this year? My new best friend. How do we find my 4 new best friends? That's how anytime I sign a contract, that's what I do. I go, thank you, my new best friend. And then I go, the reason I say that is because you guys are allowing me to really live my dream here. I started a construction business because this is what I want to do. And when you come out here with a sweet job like this, we both know it's $100 grand. Thank you. You're my new best friend for the next 4 months. Let's hang out, get it done.
I like that. I like that attitude a lot.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
I make the other joke. I'm always like, I'll say like, we're best friends, right? I'm like, by the end of this, no matter how good I do, you're gonna hate me a little bit because I've been in your house for 6 months.
That's right.
You know, I said I'm gonna do everything I can to make it as painless as possible, and I want to keep an open line of communication. And anytime something comes up, don't hold it in. Come talk to me, and we'll get through it quick. Like, you know, and that's my philosophy.
That's a good philosophy. Because human relationships are challenging, and especially like you said, when you're in somebody's home, not only like even if it wasn't you, if the person was doing the work themselves and their house was torn apart for 6 months, they would be frustrated. Not only their wife would be frustrated with them, they would be frustrated with. It's a frustrating scenario to live in a construction zone. You know, it's uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, and you're in their home, but you're also like spending the most money they've ever spent in their life.
That's right.
That's what I do. Like they planned 20 years to get this addition done, and finally the interest rates were low enough, and you know, and all these like 10 things that had to happen to make this addition happen. Like, and that's something I spent a lot of time thinking about.
Yeah.
I've never spent $75,000 for someone to come fix my house.
Yeah.
And I probably never will.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's something like, that's a whole nother psychological thing you got to take into that, dude.
Yeah. That's right.
They're spending not all their money, but in a sense, all their money. Like, dude, I don't care who you are. All I work for is pretty much normal people, like regular folks in, you know, 1,700 square foot houses or whatever here in California. And it's like, I know they're not rich.
Yeah.
This is a big move for them. And they trusted you. Like they're trusting you, some dude who's just a 2-man company, to spend all their money that they've acquired in equity on this home or whatever. It's so serious.
It is super serious. It's tight butthole. It's puckered butthole for sure.
Yeah. You know? Oh, the workaholic. I love that shit.
Tight butthole.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. So tell me about music, man. I want to know like how long you've been playing the guitar.
I started playing guitar when I was probably like 15, 16.
Yeah.
I was phasing out of baseball.
All right.
Not because I didn't love baseball, just because I didn't really fit in with the jocks anymore. Sure. My personality didn't fit in with the clean cut jocks anymore. I was like going a different direction. Puberty was pulling me in a different direction.
Yeah, man.
And my stepdad had an old Yamaha. I should put it out in the closet. Yeah. He would only bring it out at Christmas and sing Jingle Bells and a couple Creedence songs, and then it'd go back in for the year. You know, that was my stepdad. He's a cool blue collar dude. He wasn't good at guitar, no, but he showed it every year. And one year I was like, don't put that away.
Yeah.
Don't put that away. And so I got into it, and I was heavy into it, into bands. I was in a band called the Solid Fellas when I was like 22 to 25 or whatever. And in Sacramento, we did a lot. Like we were on the radio, we played every gig, we did everything you could do in town before we finally like parted ways as a band. And part of the reason that I wasn't into it after that is because I had a young son, and at that point I was a single dad.
Got it.
Probably you might have been in the same situation. And I was just, I gotta get this construction thing off the ground. Like I gotta figure this shit out. You know what I mean? So I was playing, but I wasn't trying. I was just like relaxing and strumming. But now the kids are bigger, and the pandemic shit happened where they were like, stay home. And at first I was like, okay, right? You know, so I stayed home for like a month. And I was crazy on Amazon. Like, I'm gonna get a digital recorder. I'm gonna get a guitar. I'm gonna get this. I started like learning how to record music, and it fired me up again.
Awesome.
And that's when I got like the inspiration to write the new album, Time and Material.
Yes, sir.
And so over this time, I wrote that thing, and I didn't want to put it out already. I wanted to keep working on it, but people have been supporting me so much, and I felt like I had to give the people something.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, fuck it. I'm going to a studio. I'm recording an album in one day. It's just going to be a live thing.
Yeah.
And all my songs that I wrote over this year and a half or whatever, I wrote them all. And I recorded it, and now I'm just like, I'm chasing it, but not with the attitude of like, not with an expectation. I'm chasing it to see where it leads with zero expectation, other than to have fun, be creative, bond with friends, party, get my wife out of the house. Those are my expectations.
Those are great expectations. That's realistic. I think that's an experienced person's take on creativity. So let me tell you, when I'm scrolling through your Instagram page, just kind of checking out what you do, just looking at pictures of you, you have this intensity in your eyes that I really relate to, because I do too. I'm like one of the more intense people I know, and I don't want to be. I just am. You know what I mean? It's a blessing and a curse, obviously, but I know for me, if I don't put that energy into something that expresses that intensity to some extent, I just don't. I'm not myself, and I deal with depression and all of those things. And it's like, I know that creative people, like, no matter what you do, I think owning a business is an incredibly creative endeavor. I think the trades alone are incredibly creative. You're working with your hand, you're putting it's so creative, but that doesn't necessarily communicate the stuff that's inside your soul that like music can get out, or there, art is communication. It's a whole different kind. And so whether you're doing it for one thing or another, I think the point is to just keep doing it. Like, you gotta honor the gift, right? If you got something, it doesn't have to be that you're this or you're that, or you're up here or you're down here, but that you have this impulse inside you that's like, pay attention to me, and to honor that.
My brother-in-law owns a sweet nightclub in town here called Harlow's Nightclub, Sacramento.
That's cool.
And he plays guitar. We got together and hung out and played guitar. And one thing he said to me, which is like the short version of what you just said, he said, because I'm getting back into music. And he came and saw a show, he loved it. And he's like, yeah, man, don't die with your songs inside you.
That's right. That's great.
I love that. With your songs inside you.
Yeah, I love that.
That hit me hard. Like, I basically wanted to write a song about that phrase.
Do it.
That's
a great idea for a song. Album number 2.
The song on the pod?
Dude, please. I can't wait. I was listening. I had your album going this morning. My daughter was dancing around the living room. She had her coloring set out. We're listening to Time and Material.
Yes.
Loving it.
It's a positive album, it's positive.
I love it. And it celebrates working people, and I love that.
Yeah. And we're always coming up with new songs like about that. So maybe I'll do 1 or 2, because I kind of wanted to show you a brand new one no one's heard before.
I can't wait, please.
But let me start with the one about the plumber and the electrician. I wore my electrician hat today.
Where did you get that?
It's just a flash hat. I think I got it like Kohl's.
Okay.
My wife saw, that's not an electrician hat, it's flash. I was like, it's a Doug the Modern Electrician hat.
I kind of feel like Flash would have been a really good electrician.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't have made any money.
All right, let's do it. This one's called... that she needs an electrician, so my buddy Doug, he was on the mission, because he had his own electric company. What he did, well, she must have liked it. He was checking bolts, hanging lights, turns around and her clothes weren't nowhere to be seen. It's safe to say that he had himself a time, just Sparky bringing water to a cottage on a Friday night. He won't complain, no, he won't kick up butt. Just a typical day for some tradesmen just like us, yeah. That Wednesday was a big old bummer, but for Shauna it was awesome because she needed a plumber. Said her sink won't drain and her shower sprung a leak. After what he did, well, she must have liked it. He was stinking faces, bread and pots. Turns around and her clothes weren't nowhere to be seen. It's safe to say that he had himself a time. Took the plumber bringing water to a cottage on a Friday night. He won't complain, no, he won't kick up butt. Just a typical day for some tradesmen just like us, yeah. Well, she left the oven on and the house caught flame, so she called me up because she heard I framed, and the insurance man, well, he gave her $100,000. After what I did, well, I guess she liked it because she added it on. I jacked up the price, walked away with a little bow that I planned. It's safe to say that he had himself a time, just framing up a cottage for a lady on a Friday night. He won't complain, no, he won't kick up butt. Just a typical day for some tradesmen just like us, yeah. Just a typical day for some tradesmen just like us. One more time, just a typical day for some tradesmen
just like us. Love it. I love it. That's a brilliant. I love the concept. You go over to fix a lady's something or other, and she just can't contain herself.
You've been going around with apprentices for years, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they've made X-rated movies on that entire premise.
I guarantee it. I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's a great premise.
That song, I don't want to say it's I've mistakenly been like, this song's a true story. No, it's not a true story. It's based on real people.
Got it.
It's based on real people. Like I put in Doug in this, but usually it's my buddy Joe, who's an electrician. He's a union electrician, 20 years. He's like one of my best friends in the world. You know, I was just thinking like, oh, who do I know who's an electrician? Yeah, oh, Joe. You know,
that's right.
Buddy Sean, he's an HVAC guy, but I call him the plumber because I usually call him to help me with plumbing stuff.
All right.
He already knows that kind of stuff really well.
Yeah.
And then I threw myself in as the framer. You know?
There you go, man. I love it. I love the idea. So that's another thing, like with the podcast, for example, like taking your creative juices, taking the thing that you like to do that's kind of outside of the work that you do, but still leaning into the work that you do with that creative stuff. Like you're writing songs about being blue collar and about being just a regular dude who's in the trades. I think that's awesome. You know, because
to me is the most important thing about music, authenticity.
Yeah. I think art period is authenticity. So like one thing that always got me as a stand-up comic was like, and you hear it a lot. You hear stand-ups do jokes about being stand-ups, you know, because that's all they do. And so they don't have experiences outside of that to draw from. They might talk about their families or whatever, but they're just on airplanes and telling jokes. But to be able to write music about real life experiences in a different world is cool, man. I think that really speaks to this whole community. I think if people don't know about you and haven't heard your album, they really need to, because it's, you know, you're writing songs for this community. It's cool.
I'd love to get it out there. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. We'll keep working on it. I think it's getting out there.
You know what you said, like you said, comedians, they got to draw off what they do. We all got to draw off what we do all day. And for a comedian, that can be a little tricky, right? Because that's what you're doing. And it might not necessarily be relatable. Just like my song's not relatable to everybody.
Right.
Right. But like a comedian could highly benefit from working in the trades for a day or two. Yep. Like my buddy is a comedian here, Mike Winfield. He was on The Office. He was one of the dudes who worked in the warehouse in The Office. You don't notice it much in the show, but he's a super cool dude. our kids run Little League together. Like he at his house changed out the kitchen faucet one day.
All right.
And his Instagram was blowing up that day with just little shit he was talking about in his story and stuff. He's like, I'm hilarious when I install faucets. He's like, I'll sell you a faucet for no less than $1,000. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I love it, bro. I was like, I'll install the faucet. You just stand there and tell me jokes while I'll do it.
That's right, man. Yeah, that's right. And being able to marry those two worlds together is a special thing.
That's tricky. That's authenticity.
It is.
That's how you write a song that doesn't suck. Because
I agree.
I believe this guy, what he's singing about. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
And I think so. There's also something about relating to the difference between, but relating to everybody and relating to not everybody. And I think there's a fear, like with this podcast, it's like part of me like wants to relate to more people, right? Broader scene. But the bigger part of me says, no, like this is for tradespeople. If other people want to listen to it, that's great.
We don't play pop music.
That's right. That's right. We don't offer that service.
Podcast. This is indie. This is underground for people.
This is underground. That's right. That's right. Yeah, man. You love being what?
Underground.
It's the best way to be, man. I think that I've always had like this aversion to mainstream. I don't know. To the point where I stand in my own way. I think as a stand-up, even like other friends of mine who were stand-ups would question me or have conversations with me about like, you just too, you didn't have to come up and alienate everybody tonight. You could have just, and it's like, well, I don't know, like, or why don't you get a 7-minute set together? Why don't you get a clean 7-minute set together? And it's like, I don't know, man, I don't necessarily want to go do that kind of, it doesn't speak to me. It's like, I want to, the whole point of doing,
you're forcing it,
Yeah. And the whole point of being creative and expressing yourself is to express yourself. It's not to do what other people think you should do so that you can follow some path to equal success. If I'm going to do that, I'm just going to go to college and just
success.
Yeah. It's like, I want to express myself in the way that, even if it's detrimental potentially to the
it's your truth. Like,
it's my truth.
Speak your truth.
Right.
And I definitely think anyone, not you, should find a balance so that your stuff is palatable.
Yeah.
If you are trying to do something with it, like if I want to do a gig at a high school, I'm not gonna fucking say fucking. For example, I'm gonna be like, well, what stage am I on? What stage do I hope to be on?
Right.
And that's how it is, and that's how it is. Like my buddy Mike, who's a comedian, once a year he does a clean show.
Okay. With
a 2 root beer minimum, clean show, you can bring anyone 13 and over, right?
Okay.
But he admits that's tricky.
It's hard. It's hard to do, especially when you're in the habit of just being yourself. Curtailing that can be tricky, but it's fun. I've done some too, and it's good I've had my daughter come watch me perform in clean settings, and it's rewarding to have that.
I think it's so worth it though. Like not necessarily the clean, but just to get outside your box.
Yeah.
All right, Stan, I see you. Just to get outside, get outside your box, and like for me, putting a contractor tip.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm really good at it. A year ago, I wasn't as good at it. They were longer. They didn't fit into a story. I didn't use the captions. I didn't filter. I didn't do whatever. I didn't even flip the screen so you can see my t-shirt says my company name, like all these things. So when you take the time to say film yourself, you're holding yourself more accountable. You're like, oh, why do you make videos yourself, bro? Like, so I can get better. That's why I make videos.
Sure.
When you look at yourself doing a thing, you realize everything you can improve upon.
Right.
And as long as that doesn't hurt your self-esteem, then you're in a good place. It doesn't hurt. I fucked that up. I guess I'll try it different next time.
That's right. So how do you find for me, the challenge is always balance. Like, because our jobs are so demanding, like it's just so much work. And then on top of it, you've got this creative impulse to, if you're anything like me, once you get hooked on writing a song, or once you get like an idea in your head, see you later. Because I gotta go finish. I gotta go finish this thing, and so the work-life balance is critical if you want to have a happy family.
Yeah,
How do you do that?
How do I make it happen?
Mhm.
I do it by literally encouraging that to every member of my family. So
Mhm.
they're busy too, which
Yeah.
gives me the time to do what I need to do. So,
Smart.
it's like all of them, given any night of the week, weeknight, given any night of the week, they all have some different shit going on.
Yeah.
Abby's got dance class and karate. My wife's got choir and Bible study. My son plays baseball, does music, and works at Roundtable. So
Yeah.
it's like, I can pretty much do whatever I want.
That's wonderful, man. That's a beautiful thing.
But you guys do your thing. I'll be here doing mine, and
Yeah.
my night is Wednesdays. So Wednesdays I split. That's the night I split. And it luckily sometimes it works out. I think on Wednesdays they go to like the church dinner thing or something. I'm not even really sure where they go, but I know they go somewhere.
That's awesome, man.
You
So
guys-
what's next? What's next for your company? What are your hopes for the company?
Well, I just want to keep getting off at 2 and paying my mortgage.
Brilliant.
Thing. But as far as what would be really cool, like I got a call to go look at building a duplex
All right.
downtown, and that would be a cool build.
Yeah.
So I normally am not so lickety split on the bid, but I went and looked at that job and I got the plans and I came home and I was like
Sure.
all day. Home Depot phone, calling plumbers, and I got that bid to them. I got that bid to them same day for a
Wow.
whole bill.
Wow.
Right? It's probably I even told them this bid's not perfect. This is a preliminary bid, but we are really close. And so just to show them like I'm interested in this
Yeah.
job.
Sure. Okay.
So I would
So-
like to do some of that because I
Yeah.
think building, say, like a duplex or more of these granny flats, I think I want to get into real estate down the road.
Okay.
Like I kind of have like a little goal that I want to give each of my kids a house when I die, at least.
That's a
I
great
want
goal.
each kid I'm dead, at least you motherfuckers each get a house. If you screw it up, that's on you. I did my part. You know what I mean? Kind of like a little goal that I have, a long-term goal. So
Sure.
I want to get into real estate. So working with these guys who are building this duplex, they're two brothers.
Yeah.
They have regular jobs and this is their side hustle.
Interesting.
I'm
Okay.
really interested in meeting with more people like that.
Yeah.
And like trades are magic, but to me, these like white collar ballers, they're magic too.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Yep.
How'd you figure out this money game? Like,
That's right, man. Everybody's got little secrets. I try to keep friends in my life who are, walk all different kinds of walks, because you never know when you're gonna have to pick somebody's brain and be like, how do you do that? What do you look at when you do? I'm so curious all the time.
and that is also such a great way, like to bond with someone who you want to do business with.
Yeah.
We talked about his project, but since I could tell I had a couple minutes left after we already talked for like an hour, I started asking about his business, and
Yeah.
he was happy to tell me stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I was genuinely interested. So, like,
Yeah.
guys out there, if you want to land a job, take actual interest in your clients, not just interest in their checkbook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great insight for sure.
It'll take you so far. The lady I'm doing the remodel right now, her whole house is decored to match. Let's just say
Okay.
with a style that you or I don't know the name of, but basically they look like these little white and blue Asian candle holders, pouring plates. They're all white and blue Asian. I don't know.
Okay.
But basically, to schmooze her, I brought her a couple
Oh,
that
get
I
out.
across.
Yeah.
Right. Most people, this wouldn't be a big thing, but this is her thing.
Yeah.
So I brought her a couple, and she was thrilled.
Yeah.
And it was no skin off me to bring her a little present. Those little things will go so far with people you work with.
Well, it's like you said earlier, to be a general contractor, you've really got to be like a sociologist, like a professional. So, you really got to know people and notice those little things that mean something to them.
You got to keep them on your side.
That's right. What do you see? What's your next move with music? I mean, you got the album out. Are you working on new songs?
Working on a bunch of songs. The next move is to do a real recording at a recording studio with the band.
Okay.
It might be that song Tradesman. It might be Making Hay. It's up in the air right now which song it's going to be. But get the band in the studio and release a single.
Yeah.
So, and I think that will definitely happen over the course of this winter.
Okay.
Like the shows are going to slow down a little bit. Not as much outdoor stuff, which we were focusing more on outdoor stuff.
Okay.
And so stay inside, write some music, save a couple dollars.
Yeah.
And so that, and then the other thing I'm doing with music is lately it's actually turning into a side hustle for me where I've been getting paid to like play in the corner at a brewery or something like that.
Yeah. All right.
make pretty decent money on a Saturday.
Yeah.
It's better you spend less because no matter what, you're taking your wife and your daughter out to get a burger on Saturday or something.
Right.
Right? It usually
Right.
costs like $100 if you get a couple beers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get paid more than $100, and y'all are probably gonna eat for free. So yeah, I'm saving money and making money by playing music.
And you're playing music, which you love to do.
Playing music. Love playing music.
I do too. I've been playing music a long time myself.
Oh, really?
I did. So when I first started doing stand up, I did it as a 2-man musical act. That was how I started.
Shut up.
I did. So back in like 2000, that's when I started doing that. And it all started, I was a musical comic for the longest time before I got up and just started telling stories and jokes. And so like my first couple albums that you could get on iTunes are me playing songs and interluding in between them, but they're all absurd.
Like Jack Black or Adam Sandler, like.
Yeah, I mean, I was heavily influenced by Adam Sandler when I was a kid, growing up. I mean, that was the first time I heard Adam Sandler's "What the Hell Happened to Me." You know, I just like, just so funny, and nobody was doing anything like that. So in high school, I started writing songs with a friend that were absurd, funny songs, and then we happened to be doing the same thing when Tenacious D kind of surfaced. So it was kind of this thing in the air that people were.
Yeah.
Musical comedy was kind of doing its thing. So yeah, I mean, the first little bit was me writing songs, and then I got into storytelling. Yeah, guitar. I just picked up a little Martin travel size acoustic that I love to death. Yeah, my dad's got an old dobro just like yours hanging on the wall there. I'm from a musical family too. We used to sit around. The fellas would come over and drink whiskey and just play music all night.
Creative dudes. Bunch of creative people.
Bunch of creative people that don't get the credit for it. I mean, that's what I mean about tradespeople is like, usually tradespeople aren't the kind of guys who are gonna walk around talking about their skills, right? They're not the kind of guys that are gonna be like, you should hear me play guitar, but they can, and I always like that.
Oh, dude, yeah, dude. Like, or back in the day, they wouldn't even talk about their trade. Like, there's a pride for it now, and I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. It's like, dude, because like honestly, back in the day, I thought it would be something I wouldn't be even proud of. But now it's like, wait, other people think this is cool? Yeah. Okay, I'm not just the weirdo who thinks this is cool.
It's totally cool. I think the real trick is going to be how do we get young people to feel the same way? Because I don't know. Like 70% of them want to be YouTube stars with no damn skills. And it's like, how are you going to be a YouTube star? What do you offer? You got nothing to offer. But
that's why I've been trying to, because I asked that same question. So I try to show my daughter like a cool construction reel if it comes up on Instagram or something. Like, check this girl out. Look, she's freaking doing the thing, and I think it's pretty cool.
I do too. Yep, I do too. I try to every woman tradie, every female tradie that I follow online. Same thing. I show my daughter. I'm a big fan of MMA and boxing and female fighters. I show my daughter I'm like, look at these girls. I mean, I want you to know, there's mastery and all kinds of things.
Your daddy dad.
That's right. That's right. But I think that the hardest part about maybe getting kids involved or interested is, number one, it's not glamorous, right? And number two, it's hard work. It's like, there's no way around it. You're gonna be dirty. You're gonna bleed. You're gonna sweat. It's gonna be it's frustrating, and getting past those hurdles sometimes and recognizing the benefit of those is a hard thing to teach somebody, because you have to stay in it a while to see the reap the rewards.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, like before my brother became a contractor, it was kind of tough because he wasn't making that much, and here the workers' comp and everything in California is crazy, especially for carpenters and stuff, right? And so it was kind of tough, but after he got his contractor's license and started getting the nice paychecks, I can start to see that real pride in his eye coming through.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can make that's right. You can make a good living for yourself, for sure. And for me, the thing that really always interested me about the trades was that it's just like stand-up. It's just like music. It's a skill set that you develop over time that you can then, once you have skills, you just sell what you know. It's that easy. You don't have to get a degree in something and then go apply for jobs that, you know what I'm saying? That's so convoluted. To me, it's like, learn skills, follow your passion, learn the skills, and sell what you know. And you can start businesses and like people will pay you because they don't know how.
Long as you're willing to dig your feet in, you'll make it happen.
I think so.
There's a way out of every problem, and sometimes it's expensive, sometimes it hurts, but there's a way out of every problem. And if you just dig your feet in, you get there. There's been so many times through the years I wanted to quit and like shut my company. Sure. You know, you have a bad week, bad day, especially in the learning years. Like not really lately, everything's been good because I'm kind of like cruising now. But like the first 5 years of business, I didn't know jack shit about business.
Of course.
You know.
Yeah, and I mean, unless you and I think you could go get a business degree, but I feel the same way about that I feel about getting any 4-year degree where, because I went to college. Okay, I went to college 5 times. I've said this before on the podcast, 5 different colleges. No, not even an associate's degree. I'd make it like a semester and a half before I was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like what?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this information? Like, I get it. I get it. Philosophy is great. But this is going to be just like when I'm done with high school and they're like, off you go. It's like, well, what the fuck was that? What did I gain? What did I gain from that? So I don't know, man.
You know how they can make college better?
Yeah.
They can make the toys of the trade. Like for the cool thing about a tradesman is you also get new toys like every week.
That's a good point.
You know, like it's kind of like a reward. You're like, I got paid. I'm gonna get that new Sawzall. Then we did it. You're stoked off that thing until it starts to get tasty, you know?
So that's a good point.
You get a laptop when you pass the test or something, you know?
That's good. That's a good point.
Interface. You know, like they need to make it a little more fun.
I honestly, I wouldn't have such an aversion to the college concept if it wasn't so damn expensive. It's insanely expensive. And it's like if you're gonna invest that kind of money, and you don't know for sure that the end result of that investment is going to pay off, because you don't. Like, especially say you get a bachelor's degree and it's a general degree and now you're in the same pool as everybody else because they have a bachelor. Everybody's got a bachelor's degree too. So what'd you just spend, 50 grand? And now you got to go get another degree if you want to differentiate yourself, right? So it's like, it's such a racket.
It's like they probably don't teach them what return on investment means till like the last week of Okay, for your final lesson, we're gonna go over ROI.
Yeah, they're like, you keep asking to take an economics course, and they're like, you can't take economics yet, not till you're a senior.
That's the very last class you take. I mean, that's how it was in high school too. They take economics like senior year.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, man, Nick, I had a blast talking to you, man. I really appreciate your time. I really, really do.
Me too, brother. I'll be looking forward to hearing. So do you do the video or just the audio?
So in the past, I've just done the audio. So for the online, the Spotify, Google, wherever you find your podcast, it'll be audio. But I've got a YouTube channel that I may start posting the videos as well. And so, because I think that could just bode well for the whole thing, and people like to see it.
People consume in different ways.
That's right. People consume in different ways. So it'd be good to give them the option. And I think I'm going to try some different platforms now that I've got this back up. I'm using Zoom here. But I found, what's that?
This works pretty darn good.
It's okay. I think the issue is in the recording. I think that Zoom records from my end, regardless of, like, I saw there's a new platform and I can't think of the name of it. My friend turned me on to it that I may switch to, and it basically records locally. So it'll record on your end and it'll record on mine so that each recording gets synced together. So the audio is a little bit better, things like that. So yeah, so I may do something like that, but we'll see.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So I'll post you up and talk about your album and what's your company called? Solid General
Construction, Orangevale, California.
There it is.
Website too, solidgeneralconstruction.com.
Okay, beautiful.
And right now we're actually, I'm focusing a lot on the Facebook business page.
Okay, got it.
A lot of new stuff coming off that.
Okay, awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing everything you're doing. And when you get new music, make sure you share it because I'm looking forward to hearing it, man.
Definitely. Should we sign off with one final song?
Please. I would love that.
This is brand new written, so I'm going to the lyrics are on my screen here.
Yeah, go for it.
And it might not be perfect, whatever,
That's all right.
But this one, I think I'm going to either call it Good Hearted Lies or Midnight Bottle. I'm coming up with I'm still in the works. So
I like both.
All right. I got a friend named Marty, whose favorite thing to do is party. He boasted with pride and a gleam in his eye. He could finish fifth of Bacardi. I pleaded, please reconsider. He told me he'd give it a shot. Then he drank every drop. When I asked him to stop, he shouted, I'm just getting started. Out with some drunken friends, midnight bottles get open. Good sense don't apply, so you'll realize them good-hearted lies got spoken. He had a sister, Cecilia, partied so hard could have killed her. She boasted with pride and a gleam in her eye. She could put back a pint of tequila. I pleaded, oh, please consider me driving you to AA. She said, okay, turn around same day. Seen her throw down some Jose. Out with some drunken friends, midnight bottles get open. Good sense don't apply, so you'll realize them good-hearted lies were spoken. I tried to set an example, 'cause those two can be such a handful. Swallowed my pride with a gleam in my eye, and I threw back a shot of Jack Daniels. Thought to myself, just consider, maybe that your friends were right. To hell with the warnings, we party till morning. They can't be beaten, just join them. Yeah, out with some drunken friends, midnight bottles get open. Good sense don't apply, soon you'll realize them good-hearted lies were spoken. Out with some drunken friends, midnight bottles get open. Good sense don't apply, soon you'll realize them good-hearted lies were spoken.
Nick Bossio, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful. I love it, man. I love it. Thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to seeing your stuff going on.
Yeah, man. Likewise. Let's stay in touch, all right?
Okay, sounds good.
Enjoy your weekend, brother. I'll let you know when this goes up.
All right, great.
All right, brother. See ya. Have a good day.
I don't know how to turn this thing off.
I don't either. We'll figure it out.
Okay.